Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from AnthonysCustoms, and for this review, we are looking at the Super Robot Chogokin Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Megazord. And this is the small one that is basically a figure arts figure with a die cast. We can call it that. It's a Tamashii Nations figure, and it's really cool. It does not transform, it does not separate, but it does come with effect parts, and it is particularly posable. Especially in relation to your standard Megazord figures. So that's why I have this, even though it is relatively small. It's a much smaller scale figure than most of your Megazord figures, but it does look very, very nice, and it's a lot of fun. So I thought I'd review it for you guys, and I'm very happy to tell you it's a pretty cool figure. So let's go ahead and get it off the stand and take a closer look. As I mentioned, this guy is kind of small. He's only about 6¼ inches to the top of his head, which makes him just shy of 16 centimeters. So I'm fine with the scale. I mean, it's not supposed to be to scale with any of the Power Rangers figures, and it's supposed to be a particularly playable Megazord figure. So I'm perfectly okay with the scale, and it's just a gorgeous looking figure. I mean, you can see it's very saturated. It's got tons of nice color on it. The paint job is very clean. We have a lot of really sharp sculpt work, so that's really good. And then, of course, the posability is really the key factor for this guy. For me, anyway, the posability and the effect parts, which we'll get to now. Let's talk about the accessories. We have a couple different sets of hands. We have the 2 fist hands that come on him in the package, 2 gripping hands for his 2 accessories, and then 2 style pose hands. So you're going to have no problem posing this guy and making him look cool. In terms of the accessories we do get his sword, which is painted very nicely. You have a really nice silver paint for the main part of it. You have the black grip for the handle, and then you have the gold part with the kind of pattern on there. And it's all very clean. It looks very nice. We do have the Mastodons Shield. It doesn't have the ability, at least as far as I can tell. Maybe it pops off, but I'm not sure. I don't have any instruction booklet or anything for it. Maybe you can turn it around for like the freeze effect, but either way, you do have the handle for the shield, and it's also painted very nicely and sculpted nicely. And then we have the effect parts for both the sword, which looks great. It just slides over it, and it's got kind of like this glowing effect with the lightning going around it, so I think that's awesome. And then we also have the effect part for the horn, like his main horn crown piece. It's clear plastic that just pegs onto his horn with some really nice saturated blue and kind of like pinkish red to go out there. And it's very translucent. It looks fantastic. So not the most accessories in the world, but definitely enough to make this guy a lot of fun. Nice little bonus feature is the cannons back here. They are on double ball pegs, so you can bring them out and around and pose them very easily. They move around all over the place, so if you want to put them in a cool pose, you really won't have any trouble doing that. They pose very nicely, and then they kind of collapse on themselves and key in right there. So they just sit there very, very nicely. Okay, very, very good. So this guy, let's talk about the articulation. We already covered that the sculpt and paint is very nice. The head, I believe it's on a single ball peg on top of the neck, and then the neck also has a ball peg, but there could technically be a double ball peg for the head itself, but it moves around very well, leans side to side. Of course, full rotation. You can look down a little bit, so that's good, and it can look up a little bit, so it's very nice. For the shoulders, we do have a butterfly joint, which allows the arms to move forward a little bit more than normal. Not a ton, but a little bit. You can see it doesn't look too bad either, so that's good. You have just a ball peg that goes into that butterfly joint. It's very stiff. You can hear it squeak, but it does move, so you get your full ball peg range, and then of course it'll wiggle around on there as well. The shoulder pads are on their own hinge, and they're actually kind of farther out, so you can raise the arms up pretty well, but they do get in the way a little bit, so you're not going to get the arms up too much more to the side than that. So be aware, it's a little bit limiting. You do have a bicep swivel, so that's cool, but again, a lot of it's very stiff, so be very careful posing this guy, at least at first, but you should be okay. You have a single joint in the elbow up here, and that gives you 90 degrees right there. And then you also have another internal joint for the elbow in the forearm, which gives you pretty much your full 180, just about. So that's really cool, and that happens at that separation. You can see right there, that's where you get that extra hinge. So that's very nice. Then for the wrist, we have just a ball peg for the wrist itself, which the hand can move around on a little bit, but we also have this right here. Not sure why they bothered to do that, but it is there and it doesn't hamper anything, so that's pretty nice. For the torso, you're going to find, or at least on this one, I can't really get it to rotate at all. It kind of wants to, but then it doesn't go anywhere. So I get like one little tiny click. And it's not that it's ratchet, it feels like it's just stuck, but it won't really go anywhere. And it leans just a little bit forward and back, but you can pop it up a little bit, like that. It extends. Then you get a lot more lean going forward. So that's really nice. Leaning side to side is definitely also enhanced. Going backwards, not so much, because unfortunately that Tyrannosaurus tail just gets in the way. Can't lean him back too far, but I like that they added that extension so that you could get all that other posability. For the hips, these pieces move a little bit, so you're not going to be able to get them to do the splits, but these pieces move a lot, so you can get the legs up there really far. So that's pretty cool. So you have a ball peg, and it is on a hinge, like your standard figure arts. It moves down and up, which will afford better articulation if you bring it all the way down. It's also very stiff though, so again, be careful. You can get the leg out about a little bit better than 45 going that way, and then bringing it straight up, you can, gosh, it's so stiff, it makes me nervous to pose it. You can get the leg out all the way pretty much, so no problem at all going forward. And then you have your thigh swivel. You know, the hinged ball peg is so stiff in there, I almost want to say it's not supposed to be there, but I'm pretty sure it is, so just be really careful. For the knee, you have a single joint right there, which gives you almost 90 degrees, but then this whole piece right here is another joint that gives you even more range, and they designed it so that the thigh actually tucks into the lower leg, and you get better than 90 degrees, especially once you move the leg forward. You can really get that knee bent, almost like a full 180. So like I said, this guy's best attribute is probably his posability compared to other Megazord figures. Now we do have the ankles, which are a little bit of a problem. Not only are they kind of just loose and floppy, they don't give you the best range. It's better than none by a lot. I mean, you still get a little bit of an ankle rocker. You can lean them forward a little bit, or I guess lean them back a little bit. Leaning them forward doesn't work so well. You can pop them down for better range, but as you can see, that block in there, it pretty much limits the posability to the same range it had before. So you still can't move the head forward. You still only put the foot back the same amount. So dropping it down really doesn't increase anything, unfortunately. And the same is true for this side. You just don't get the range. You can drop it down. It maybe helps a little bit more on this side, but not by much. It's still just pretty limited, which is unfortunate because bringing the toe forward is pretty important for posability, and it doesn't have it. So that's a bit of a bummer. It's weird to note these go down like this. I don't know why. I can't figure out any purpose. This part doesn't move down like that, so I don't know. But otherwise, it's a really solid figure. I'm very happy to have it. I know he's kind of hard to come by now. I got lucky in that somebody wanted to trade me for him, and I was able to snag one. But hopefully they do a reissue, and maybe they can adjust some of those issues in the posability. But it's still a really nice Megazord figure, and I have to recommend it for sure. If you are a Power Rangers fan and you collect the smaller scale import figures, this is one you want to have. It's just so much fun, and it looks so cool, and you really need to have it. So there you go, guys. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. I have new videos up every single day. We talk about action figures, movies, TV shows, video games, all kinds of fun stuff. So make sure you come back for that. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, and in the meantime, keep collecting.